Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so let's talk about the Knicks and the Lakers. They're going to be playing today at 6 p.m., which kind of surprises me because usually when we play the Knicks on a Sunday, it's a daytime morning matinee. Uh, very happy it is not that. And we're also very happy to say that our Los Angeles Lakers have won 7 of our last 10 games, having beat the no, it wasn't Portland. Portland shot our heads off last time we saw them. It was a different team that we last saw previously. And, to be honest with you, the Los Angeles Lakers ran straight past them. It wasn't even close. Who did we play? I don't remember. Look, it seems to me that we played the Memphis Grizzlies, and then might have had a game after that, but my mind is gone completely blank. But nevertheless, D'Angelo Russell, whoever was in front of him, whoever it was that he danced on them pretty good. It was Toronto. That's who it was. Toronto. Drake and them came in and gave us a fantastic defensive game. Had to give honors to, of course, OG Anunoby, who had pretty much a career game, and Scotty Barnes, who went off for a bunch of points and a bunch of other stats to go along with it. But we got him. D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves were pretty much the standouts in that game. And, Anthony Davis was more or less a decoy, taking all the defensive attention that Nick Nurse had assigned to him, and thus leaving someone else open to beat the Raptors. And that's what was ultimately available for us. Players that we had put together from the trade that we had made, or the trades that we had made, it all kind of come together and just pick up the load that the defense left on the table for them. So I couldn't have been more proud of my team. I'm listening to everybody talk about how deep we are. I'm listening to everybody talk about how good this team is, and I couldn't agree more. We have depth. We have strengths that's masked some of the mistakes that we can make with Anthony Davis playing so well and D'Angelo Russell's shooting ability, busting up the game against the Raptors like it did. I mean, I really believe that was either an overtime game or a close win. Maybe if D'Angelo doesn't play, I want to be optimistic. But to be honest with you, you never really know exactly how close that game could have been, because when the fourth quarter hit, he just started launching three-point shots and they all fell. And I really think that those are shots that you hire him to take. Most players in this league, and I do mean a grand majority, to take those shots that D'Angelo took, you don't want them taking them. And I say a grand majority, I'd say 99.9% of the league, I don't want them taking those shots. But D'Angelo Russell just so happens to have those shots as a extreme strength of his. Some players are different in this league. Some guys are just really, really good at shooting the three ball from far away at random rhythms without having the ball passed to them. And D'Angelo Russell was one of those guys. He could pick it up off the dribble, shoot it from 40 feet, and it'd be a fantastic rhythm shot. I've seen him do it his whole career. He was able to do it in college. So this is not something that you don't want him to do. It's one of the things I loved about drafting him, is how fantastic he was shooting off the dribble and how horrible the league is at it in general. So this is one of the most important players to me in regards to doing something everybody else can't do, and ultimately busting up games completely when he's hot like this. Now, he will have games where he goes and misses some of those shots, but that doesn't happen too often. And he talked about in the presser learning the lesson of not doing that. Overshooting and putting his team in a position to have to just, fight so hard for defensive plays just to come down and see him launch a three-point shot that doesn't go. And then they have to hurry up and rush back down there and play more defense. It tires people out, and if it could take away from the team. So as a shooter, he understood that. And I thought that was a very important soundbite for us to pick up, because it's one of the more concerns that I have about shooters. They don't understand that. As great as they are, and as often as they shoot well, sometimes they'll shoot you completely out of a game. And so if your shooter understands how not to overshoot, that means a lot. And so that's what we're seeing out of D'Angelo Russell, understanding that he can hit those shots, and then he speaks in a way that makes us understand that he knows how not to take too many of them. He also spoke to momentum and how well he understands and feels momentum in the crowd. And Staples was more or less ready to explode. And I'm telling you, he wasn't lying. He was not lying, because not only are we poised to explode in regards to, winning again in championship glory, but our building doesn't often take advantage of momentum like that very often. And that's not a strength of our team. LeBron James not particularly strong at that. Anthony Davis not particularly strong at that. And the role players that we had before making the trade weren't particularly strong at that. Yeah, they made momentum plays and highlight plays, but they don't have a pulse to momentum as to say when momentum is at its absolute peak. I know how I know how to deliver, and I mastered the delivery of reaching the peak of momentum. D'Angelo Russell was always that. He was always somebody who was able to feel momentum, capture momentum, and bust it up. We talked about Russell Westbrook having the ability to control momentum, but usually he doesn't understand how to control momentum. He just has the ability to sway it. It's necessarily no harness into it. He usually throws momentum off. He usually does the opposite of what you need. He usually bricks those shots that we're referring to. And so for somebody to not only understand momentum, but to be gifted in controlling it, I think that's an attribute right there worth some money in and of itself in this league, where you need to get a fan base like the Lakers involved, because half of the time we're kind of not. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I've heard the Staples Center be as loud as it's ever been over the last 3 games or so. And I think it's just the overall pressure of not being any good over the last several years. We're ready to explode. Our team has been bad, and not just bad as it is as a loss just keeps piling up. The losses were piling, but so were the style that we were just hating watching. Getting layupped over, rebounded over, dunked on, being too small to guard people. That stuff eats away at your Laker soul, I'm telling you. And we watched that crap for 2 years after winning a championship. And then we proceed to have a tough year where we get some things we didn't have any business doing for 1 year, where we brought in Schroeder and some guys that didn't work. Then 2 years straight, we ran small ball, old man, just everything that would eat away at your belief that you're going to see something worth watching on the basketball floor. And we lost to go along with it. So now we bring in some young guys. We've been waiting for this for 2 years. Brought in some guys from length. We've been waiting for this for 2 years. Brought in some shooters. We've been waiting on that since Kobe retired. When was the last time we actually had a shooter besides Malik Monk? Like, these are the things that D'Angelo was talking about when he said he felt that this building was ready to explode. Because, to be honest with you, we've had the desire to explode in those ways for over 3 years. 3 straight years, the team has been ready for somebody to string together a couple momentum plays like that lead to a victory. It just doesn't happen. We win in different ways. We lose a lot, but we don't do what D'Angelo did for us against the Raptors. So for me, that just helped us understand what we've been missing for the last 6 games when he was out with the rolled ankle. Helped us understand what we've been missing for the last, 7-8 years. We traded him away. And now that he's back, I do not think the Los Angeles Lakers would be wise to let him leave the organization again. I don't know what kind of bargain he's going to drive with his negotiation process, but if it's within reason and we can afford to do it, there should be no reason we let another momentum master leave our organization when our team needs to take advantage of momentum as much as anybody, given the circumstances. So that is important, and I've been very happy with him. Also, we got some injury issues that are still in place. Obviously, Bamba's out with a 4-week ankle injury. Of course, we're dealing with Bron's foot. I think we're still probably a couple weeks away from him actually returning. And we're still dealing with Vanderbilt with a little bit of a ankle that he's played through that nobody really knows about, but we talk about all the time. Anthony Davis's foot injury that he's playing through it's looked pretty good on, with the exception of the Raptors game, of which we'll talk about. And, I think our team is poised to more or less have a little more stability than they've had these last couple of games, given the fact that we're going into this game with a pretty good understanding of who we are and who's playing. And that's been a little bit of a difference. Despite all this winning, we've kind of had some ambiguity as to who we expect to play on our roster. But today, everybody we expect to be healthy is pretty much healthy. Anthony Davis is a game-time decision from what I understand. But I don't see him missing this game. I really don't. They're just being cautious. Now, on the other side, the Knicks are trying to throw us off. Jalen Brunson is their player who I think is an all-star player. He's up for a player what is the announcement they just said? He could be up for an all-NBA role of some sort, first, second, or third team. Even though he didn't make the all-star team officially, I thought that was a mistake in the Eastern Conference. He should have been there. Quite honestly, he should have been there. But nevertheless, he is not going to be there tonight. In theory, if what has been holding up does continue to hold up. He is a game-time decision with a foot. He's been having this deal go on for about a week now, a little more than a week. I think he hurt it against the Celtics, or maybe the game before the Celtics, something like that. No, it was the game before the Celtics, forgive me, that they played about 6 games ago. He then came back and played 1 game over these last 6 games against the Kings, but was able only to play 1 half before going out. So it was a good chance that he was missing the last game against the Clippers, and they expect that he'll have a hard time going this morning today at 6 o'clock against the Lakers. But I don't know. This is the Lakers. Everybody wants to come back against us. Everybody wants to play through injury against us. But I just looked at how he's been laboring on that foot, and the fact that he did have the issue, they brought him back and then had a setback, just tells me that they probably don't really want to toy around with something like that happening again. They are firmly nestled in the 5th spot, I think, or they're fighting with the Nets, but both of those two teams kind of don't have a whole lot of room outside of those two. It's either them going to be at the 5 or the 4 playing each other, basically. So given the fact that they've got about 3 games cushion between themselves and falling, I do think they can afford to lose more than maybe most teams in the league and still keep their playoff spot. So it's not to say that they're not going to be fighting for their lives tonight, but it is going to be a situation where I do lean toward believing that they'll probably err on the side of caution with Jalen Brunson and not play him. That's just my my gut telling me that. I've been wrong a million times about injuries, but if I were them, I would sit him. They're on the road. They still got another game in Portland. It's on the other side of the country. The foot is a deal, and they still got a lot of games that they have to play after this road trip that are important. They got the Nuggets coming up when they get back home. So these are some interesting stretch games. You don't want to lose them if you're the Knicks, but you also don't want to find yourself having Jalen come back for a second setback. That'll probably have him out for the rest of the season. So if you ask me, if they see my video, that should convince them not to play Jalen Brunson. It's too risky, New York. It's too risky. Now, this is a situation where they have plenty of offensive talent, but they don't have a whole lot of ball handlers. They're in a tough spot because just like us when D'Lo went down, we kind of ran thin with our point guard position. They too have that problem. They got Emmanuel Quickly back there, who's a starter in my mind. That's going to be a star easy. If you see the numbers he's been putting up when Jalen went down, it's been up and down, but when he did play big, he played like an all-star. So that's who Emmanuel Quickly is going to be. He needs opportunities, just like a lot of other guys we talk about who are playing well behind guys. But if they can get their opportunity, they'll probably be a starter, maybe even better than some of the starters we see running around. So that's who Emmanuel Quickly is. When he's balling like his best version of himself, he's shown us that he can put up 30 points and 15 assists or something crazy like that. He's one of those kind of guys. And so, given the fact that I expect Jalen to miss the game, it's going to be incumbent upon Emmanuel Quickly to come into our building and show us the level that he's capable of showing us if the Knicks won't have any shot of beating us. I don't think they can win any matchup against us if he's not balling like that. I just honestly believe that. So whether Jalen's out there or not, I expect Emmanuel Quickly to play well, and we need to be ready for him. Julius Randle. Ooh, Julius. Now, Julius Randle's had a heck of a week. If you've been following Julius, he's a guy who goes up and down in very, very dramatic ways. I mean, he's hit enough threes to be a part of the three-point contest this year. That'll tell you right now how Juju's been doing shooting the ball very well. But then you have a situation like he did against the Clippers where he went 5 of 24. And I don't think he was trying to come in here and show love to Kobe Bryant by attempting 24 shots. I do not believe that's what he was trying to do in commemorating his old teammate. I believe that he was absolutely cold, and the removal of Jalen Brunson, as we always try to point out and try to help everyone, including myself, remember, is that once you remove a player who takes on a lot of defense, that defense is going to be pointed in other directions in harder ways. Jalen Brunson ain't out there? Cool. That means they ain't got to worry about his little mid-range and his little interior layups and teardrops and all that stuff he scores 1,000,000 points doing. Nah, you get to take that defense that has to literally figure out how the heck to guard his unorthodox behind and point it at everybody else on the Knicks who is not as unorthodox to guard because they're all left-handed. So this is a situation where the Knicks become significantly easier to guard because Jalen Brunson is significantly difficult to guard, and you have to guard him a very specific way because of the angles that he likes to attack at and how he loves to shoot from like 8 feet away without actually dunking or laying the ball up. So it's teardrop central, and he's very difficult to scheme against. But because he's so difficult to scheme against, when he's not there, oh boy, does the team that have to go against him have an easy night off? And so that's what we're going to be looking at if he doesn't play, and that's why they want to make him a game time decision. It's exactly why they're telling us he's a game time decision, because they know he is difficult to scheme against, and you're going to have a sleepless night trying to figure out whether or not he's playing. And so that's what I'm looking at with the Knicks. I do not think he's playing. I don't think it would be wise for him to play, and I think we should have plans for him not playing, honestly, as the number one plan, because I just don't think he's going to be 100%, even if they run him out there. It's probably a mistake if they do. So, you'll probably see more quickly. You see more Juju. You'll see more RJ anyway. Also, Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is the guy they should be leaning on that they're not leaning on enough. The way I've been seeing things, Quentin Grimes has been one of their best shooters and one of their best perimeter defensive players. He slashes pretty well. He was highly coveted by the Utah Jazz. I think it was why Donovan Mitchell is not in Nick right now. Is because they didn't want to give up Quentin Grimes. So that speaks to how much they think of Quentin, and I think the world of him too. I think he's going to be a fantastic two-way player. I believe this is his rookie season. I'm almost certain this is his rookie season, and he's already balling all the way out. He's letting everybody know that he can play that shooting guard position on both sides. So with him shooting the ball as well as he did against the Clippers, I thought he should have been shooting more. And all them 24 shots that Juju was getting, he should have been triple-double Juju. He'd have been happier. Juju's at his best when he's looking to get double-digit assists, because he's a continuity creator. And then from there, the defense that often comes his way is just not coming his way. When he turns himself into a passer, it opens things up for him. I say the same thing about Zion, same thing about LeBron, same thing about Paolo. You guys are huge. So defense is going to want to collapse on you. But if you're the guy that makes the perfect pass, those defenses can't collapse on you. And then it opens up your strengths to go up against one-on-one players and double teams that you can afford to attack, because they're going to have to play off the guys you're often going to pass to. So a guy like Juju, who has the pass as one of his strengths, and he can't fool us, because we had him for 4 years. Laker fans know that boy can get triple doubles. That should be his game. Not launching 5 for 24. That's ego crap. That's bad juju. And that's the juju we hope to see tonight going up against us. Because if he's attempted too many shots, trying to take people off the dribble, trust you me, that's a recipe for success for the Lakers. Put the ball in Quickly's hands and set up in the block if you want to have any success. Because you got way too much to deal with tonight with our players down there, Juju. You want to take guys off the dribble, we're going to put Vanderbilt on you and the ball's going the other way. He's going to take it from you. I'm tell you right now, that's how it's going to go. And you're going to drive to the rim. You know what's going to happen? Anthony Davis is going to be right there waiting for you. So I think Juju should be wise, put himself in positions to do something else. Because if he's trying to approach the game like he did against the Clippers, he's going to get clipped. So that's it. That's what I have to say. I feel very confident that the New York Knicks are in a schematic disadvantage against us, just trying to figure out how to play without Jalen Brunson and trying to figure out who could close for them other than Jalen Brunson. They don't use Derrick Rose. They should. They don't put the ball in Quentin's hands. I don't know how his handle is, but I would. Quickly, obviously, yes. These are the players that they use if they want to get out of the situation they're in without Jalen Brunson. I just don't know that they're doing that. But they do have some size that we do need to be aware of. We're not the only ones with rim protection down there. Mitchell Robinson is healthy, and they're using him a lot on dump passes on the offensive end as well. Dribble penetration, kicking it to him. Dribble penetration, pump fake, handing it to him. So we got to be ready for that. Look for the extra pass in the interior, because at the end of the day, I just saw way too many dunks for him off plays like that in the last 6 games of highlights that I watched. The Knicks give him a lot. RJ Barrett, up and down, man. You don't never know what you're going to get from RJ Barrett. One game, you'll have 36 points. The next game, you'll have 7 points. You just don't know what you're getting out of that guy. They paid him a lot, and because of it, I think they're a little bit at a disadvantage given the fact he eats so much of the cap and plays so inconsistent. So beats me what you're going to see from RJ Barrett, but if you don't have a good enough defense against him, he could go a lot of different ways, including way up, 40, 50 points. He could do that, but he's more likely to shoot inefficiently, because that's just what we've been seeing from him lately. So he did have one game where he went off for 30-something points a couple games ago. I don't remember who it was they played, but he had a good game against them. I would like to think he would cool off against us. But then again, the Knicks have been a very good team up into this road trip, and they have struggled on this road trip against really everybody. So that's what I want to say. The New York Knicks have not had the greatest road trip. Just looking back on some of the games that they played, They had a game against the Charlotte Hornets where they had a 16-point lead. My homeboy Q and his family was actually at that game in Madison Square Garden. Shout out to my boy Q. And he witnessed the Hornets come in there and as a much improved team, just like I told people, they've won 7 out of their last 10 too. Came in there and beat the Knicks in the Garden, erasing a 16-point deficit. So that right there tells you how the Knicks have been doing, and they proceeded to go on this road trip. They went into Sacramento, and Sacramento lit up the beam. I mean, it was really one of those things where you could just see the differences in the team. Watching them go up against Sac's just better, man. It wasn't deeper than that. Sac was pushing them. Obviously, we said Jalen Brunson went out in the first half with the foot, and it was all curtains. They were just pressing against them very, very tough. And the Knicks really didn't have a whole lot for them. And then against the Clippers, Knicks just shot horribly. You know, when Juju goes for 5 for 24, the team shoots under 35% from the field, under 23% from the three. I mean, it was just an anemic situation. It ain't the first time we've said somebody shot horribly against the Clippers. It's just kind of how it's been going lately. Everybody's shooting horribly against the Clippers and then running into us afterwards. So that's what happened with the Raptors, and that's what's going on with the Knicks. So we'll see the Knicks tonight. I personally don't think the Knicks are worse than the Raptors, but when they don't have Jalen Brunson, they are. It's that simple. I do expect they can do some of the things that the Raptors get against us. They certainly have more rim protection with Toppin and Robinson, Juju. What's the guy's name? Jericho Sims, of whom they haven't been using in rotation, but I do expect to see tonight since they're going to be going up against a bigger team. Isaiah Hartenstein is also a player we talk about all the time on this channel. He's on this Knicks team that's going to be giving us a little trouble. So they have some size to throw at the guys that we have, particularly some true-to-life centers that we're throwing at, guys who are playing the center position, but as we say, are not true centers. So that's what I'm looking at tonight. How are we going to handle Mitchell Robinson's length? How are we going to deal with, Hartenstein and all those bigs that they got? Juju. Are we going to have as much success as we've had against teams that don't have as much length as maybe the Knicks do? So that's what I'm looking at. But at the end of the day, the Knicks are just discombobulated. Their closer, one of their 30-point scorers, the guy who holds the ball a good portion of the time, is just not out there making decisions for himself and others. He ain't rebounding. He ain't stealing. He ain't getting easy buckets. He ain't doing a lot of stuff. So what does that mean? That means they're relying on significantly less efficient shooters to give them the majority of their possessions. And I'm telling you, that plays right into a good defense's hands. And that's exactly what we are. The number one defense in the league over the last several games since making the trade. And that's not surprising given you got Anthony Davis and Vanderbilt, Schroeder much improved. Guys like Beasley and Troy Brown play well on the defensive end at times, giving us the stuff we need. And then, of course, Austin Reeves coming in, closing defensive possessions. Wenyen Gabriel comes in, plays great D. We have a lot of guys on this team that are contributing on that side of the floor. And when you have a all-world Hall of Fame great defensive side of the ball player like Anthony Davis basically running around healthy, which is something that we don't see too often, but we're happy to see now. Even if he ain't scoring the ball, he's still getting 4 blocks. He's still keeping people out of the paint. He's still rendering them to shooting jump shots, and that makes us a better team most nights. As we said, we want to talk about Anthony Davis's game because a lot has been said about how we failed to get him scoring in the last game. And my thing is, it's only a failure if you're looking at it that way. If the outcome was us winning the game and the defense was trying to cater itself towards stopping Anthony Davis and was successful in doing so, when you consider we were forcing him the ball and we were turning it over 21 times, it's successful when you get away from that and find other people who can help take over in those situations. Because at the end of the day, the game of basketball is you take what the defense gives you. So salute to Kobe Bennett, of course, you want to do that. But when the defense is giving you open shots to other people and passing and slashing lanes to other players and taking away AD from you, the last thing you want to do is continue to force feed AD the ball for the sake of meeting some imaginary quota of him scoring the basketball. The object of the game is to win. So if him scoring 30 points in a game where all the defense is pointed at him is the goal, then chances are you're going to lose that game. You're going to lose that game trying to force feed him the ball a million times to get him to 30 points. And all those other things that actually helped you win were not done because you were too busy trying to force feed him. That is a mistake. That's a basketball faux pas. That's exactly what the defense wants you to do, is continue to feed into what has been successful for them, which is stopping him from getting the ball. And so with him only attempting 7 shots, I thought that was high basketball IQ because it showed that we knew how to get away from something that they were taking from us. So that's one of the things I wanted to commentate in regards to that, because I disagree with some of the people who were talking about how we need to find a way to remedy the fact that Anthony Davis didn't have any more than 7 shots in the last game. I don't think that at all. By the way of the game itself and the way it looked and the way things were being played, that was the only way to win that game, is to get away from him and find a way to score with other people. So it was the only way to win. You know, he could have walked out of there with 50 points, but he would have to attempt 50 shots. Like literally, that's how bad it was looking out there in regards to how much they were crowding him out, and they had the personnel to do it. Guys like Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam and Gary Trent. It's not like forcing Anthony Davis the ball is a wise decision when you consider the personnel who's trying to guard him. It's not. You get the ball to other people. You win another way because that's what the defense gave you. I thought that was the only way to win. And I thought if he would have had 30 points, it would have went bad. It would have been bad trying to force him to that. So it's going to be incumbent upon Anthony Davis to score against defenses sometimes like that, because we won't be able to get all the production out of everybody else on every night, in theory. But I think even that is theoretical when you consider how consistent the offensive players we have around Anthony Davis often are. You don't think Austin Reeves can do that every night? You don't think Dennis Schroeder can do that every night? You don't think D'Lo can score like that every night? I think they average points that are close to that every night. They average per shot what it is that they did. So I think that is very reliable. If teams want to shut down Anthony Davis like that every night, if we can get the ball to those guards every night, we're probably going to still have an opportunity to win if their playing is up to their capability. Because this is what I expect from Austin Reeves when the defense is pointed at Anthony Davis. This is what I expect from D'Angelo Russell when the defense is pointed at Anthony Davis that hard. This is what I expect out of Dennis Schroeder when the defense is pointed at Anthony Davis that hard. Because they're not guarding you. So you definitely need to be guarding, need to be hitting shots at and attacking and slashing and making them pay for that. So that's what I wanted to say about Anthony Davis's last game. We were smart. We were smart. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. And we won comfortably because of it. So that's what that was, man. I don't expect Anthony Davis to go for, 8 points today. But I also don't expect that the Knicks are going to be able to shut him down like that. They don't have the personnel to do that. They're not going to scheme the same way the Raptors did. So it's not going to make the same sense not trying to force him the ball tonight. It's a nuanced game, so a different game will bring you a different result in regards to what you're looking at. It could be the exact same stats, and now you're saying, why didn't you get the ball, Anthony? Because it's a little bit different in how he's being guarded. But then again, you don't expect him to shoot inefficiently at all, regardless if he's putting up big shots, good defense or not, because at the end of the day, this is a highly efficient superstar who's going to get his against anybody. But just against the Raptors specifically, it was okay to go with the flow of the game because what they were doing was overplaying Anthony like crazy. So it just left guys open in an exaggerated way. So it just worked. It worked for us, man. And I don't think we'll see it too often. Teams will choose to shut down Anthony Davis. They may cater their entire defense to doing so. And so we should be ready for it happening again. But I just don't think that's a recipe for success, beating the Lakers on most nights, given how deep and how consistent some of these players are. So Rui Hachimura has played great in the last game. We're really happy to have seen him have a nice game scoring and rebounding the ball. We just want to continue to see him get good, comfortable looks for himself. He doesn't get very consistent looks, so we want to make sure that once he's very comfortable taking. I want to see him put the ball on the floor a little more. I like the fact that he can create space from the three-point arc by taking a dribble in and taking a jump shot. But at the end of the day, a lot of times when he pulls up for that jump shot, he also has an open lane to get him a dunk. Put the ball on the floor, fam. Everybody knows you can hit a mid-range jumper, but the highest percentage shot is the shot you want to take. And there's nothing higher than a free dunk, bro. Not even that wonderful rhythm mid-range shot you love to take. It ain't nearly as good as that layup. So that's what I want to see from him. If you get a guy in the air for the three-point arc, put the ball on the floor, get fouled, man. Pulling up for that mid-range jumper, it can be sweet at times, but it really is a lower percentage shot at the end of the day. So that's just something I've been taking a look at. He tends to do that in rhythm. He tends to do that systematically. And again, he's just leaving a lot of space on the board, layups on the board. Sometimes he does miss that mid-range shot. It don't get rebounded, it goes the other way. It's like, bro, put the ball on the ground, dunk it. You're 6'8", 6'10", dunk the ball, Rui. So that's what I want to see there. Troy Brown kind of went back down to earth in the last game statistically, but I thought his impact was felt with the minutes given. His minutes were kind of scaled back on. We were kind of leaning in other directions with our team. But I think that Troy Brown is still a very valuable player, especially if he's shooting the ball very well, playing confident, doing some of the stuff that we've seen him do over the last 4 games, with the exception of the Raptors game. He's been phenomenal. And so we just need him to continue to keep his confidence high. Don't throw the ball over his head behind his back like he did 2 games ago. But nevertheless, we want him to keep his confidence high and shooting the ball. He's shooting it the way that he can shoot it, and rebounding and defending the way we know he can defend. He's got a nice length, long arms to himself, and he can disrupt things in ways that a lot of our guards aren't able to just with that length. I do want to see us try him at the shooting guard position some more. Obviously, much has been talked about wanting to start Austin Reeves, our desire to start Beasley in certain matchups, depending on how well he's shooting, depending on how much we need the 3-point defense pointed in his direction. All of those things are important, but at the end of the day, I think Troy Brown gives us the best balance at the shooting guard spot of giving you a size mismatch, two-way ability. That's what I can count on. And then because he's playing the 2, it allows us to do more things with the 4, the 3, and the 5 spot that maybe wouldn't be as much of an option for yourself if you have a smaller guard at the 2 like Beasley. Obviously, we talk again. Austin Reeves should be the starter. We know that. But because of how the team is constructed, I think they've agreed that Austin Reeves is probably best helping provide continuity off the bench. I don't know about that. I still think at the end of the day, we have a very good option there if we want to start him. Troy Brown at the 3, Austin at the 2, D'Angelo at the run, AD and Vando probably should be your most conventional starting lineup. I think that would be most coaches' starting lineup with this team. But as I've said, we could do a lot of things. And if we want to move Troy to the 2, I think we have a lot of size available to us to take advantage of against a lot of 2s if we want to put him there and put ourselves in a position to have a bigger lineup. So I like that option. I don't think I've seen it too often. We tend to do a lot of different things. But if you want to put a guy that's like 6'7" at the 2 guard spot, you're going to have a size matchup that's going to work in your favor, especially if he's shooting the ball well and rebounding the ball well over those shooting guards. So that's just something I've been mulling over. It's not something that I expect the Lakers to do or anything, but I just see, like, when we're trying to figure out what to do with the shooting guard position, Lonnie tends to give us a good offensive threat, but maybe not good defensive play in certain situations. So I think a coach is afraid to go there. We want to go to Beasley, but Beasley tends to overshoot and doesn't do enough in other areas to where you find yourself having empty minutes with him out there. Again, Austin would be everybody's favorite, but they want to keep him off the bench for whatever reason. Dennis Schroeder's too short to play at the 2. So it's a situation where I'm looking at, I say, okay, well, Troy Brown is somebody I'd say a sweet medium for everybody's preference, to where we can all agree that he can help you defensively at the 2 guard spot. And then it doesn't create some of those problems that maybe starting some of those guys does in place of other guys, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Rui Hachimura, you can slip in at the 3, which is something I always want us to do, even though I know the Lakers prefer not to play him at the 3 too often because of his foot speed and what have you, his dribbling ability. But at the end of the day, I just love the idea of him and Troy Brown taking advantage of smaller players. I think when we put ourselves in a position to have those guys be bigger, it just gives us that much more opportunities to rebound and all those other things that I think is very important, that smaller matchups do the opposite for you. So that's what I want to see. Let us be bigger than people for a change. And I think if we do that, we can get out to a good start, maybe get out to a nice lead or what have you whenever that's being done. So that's what I'm talking about here. I just want us to continue to keep our foot on the gas. I don't want us to start getting proud of ourselves because we've climbed ourselves up to a certain spot. As long as teams still have to win around us, whether they're above us or below us, then we're not in a position to sigh of relief. Your positioning in the playoffs is an illusion. That's all it is. From 5 to 12, you're fighting. And if you decide to sit still and feel good about yourself, you're going to be the one at 12. That is the reality of the circumstance. I don't care what team this is. All from the Warriors, the Clippers, all the way down to the OKC Thunder and the Blazers. If you're trying to make the playoffs, you cannot afford to lose any games. So that's where we're at. I don't know what the Knicks got going on in the East. I think they're pretty comfortable. Like I said, they're going up against the Brooklyn Nets, who we know is the golden ticket out east. If you get that team, you probably feel great about your first round series. And so it's kind of like they're playing them. They're playing them. They can afford to rest people in this game. They can afford to not go hard in this game. So we need to go hard and give them what it is that they don't need. We need this game more than they do. So we need to do that. They've been on a losing streak, having been beaten by teams that, we respect. The Clippers are a contender. We respect the Kings are a contender. And so as a contender, we need to do to them the same thing that those teams did. We're not even conversing with the Knicks. We're conversing with the Western Conference. This is what you do to Eastern Conference teams. We're going to do this to Eastern Conference teams too. You're no different than us, Clippers. You're no different than us, the Nuggets, Kings. You're no different than us. We just so happen to have made our team a little better in the second half of the season, and now we're up to par with y'all. So whoever y'all beat, we beat. That's it. The conversation's with the West. The Knicks happen to be in the way, so I say we squash them, get them out the way. Because at the end of the day, they're not a serious contender without Jalen Brunson. They not. And Juju could go for 40 points in the triple-double. I promise you, he's that athletic and strong and talented. But he can also do this again, 5 for 24. He could totally do that again, man. And that's why I didn't mind us letting go of Juju, because as much as I like Juju for his strengths, kind of like Westbrook, he provided so many weaknesses that you just ain't going to miss when he leaves. And so the Knicks are kind of dealing with that. When you put the ball in his hands, you're going to either live or die with him. I watched the highlights from the Miami game last week. He hit a phenomenal shot, falling away. The ball, it was expiring time. He hit that shot with 0.5 seconds to go, double coverage, corner three-point shot. It was a heroic prayer heave that he made. So that might give you the guys to think that he should be closing every night. And I'm telling you, he shouldn't be. He most definitely shouldn't be. You want to take advantage of the fact that he's so much stronger than everybody else and can dribble the ball very well. It's not a deficiency that you put the ball in his hands. He can certainly take it off the dribble comfortably, better than most at his size, but he ain't no point guard. You don't want him dribbling at the top of the key with time expiring, trying to create a shot for himself like he's Kobe or something. That is absolutely a recipe for failure. And it's what the Knicks have been doing lately with him. So unless they want to turn that into Emmanuel Quickly doing those exact same actions or Quentin Grimes doing those exact same actions, if Jalen Brunson ain't out there, they're going to have trouble. Now, they can turn to Derrick Rose if they want. I think that would be a smarter move to try to see if there's something left in the tank there. But how much is left? Do they really want to run that against Dennis and our guys? You really want to run that against D'Lo? I think not. So I just look at this team, the Knicks, and I say, if the Lakers do what they're supposed to do, if we take this Knicks team seriously and play basically the way we've been playing, it's a double-digit win. This Knicks team ain't up to par with us. They not, man. I watched 6 games of highlights of this team. With Jalen Brunson, they're extremely good because he's going to make it so that they're that good. As I've told everybody, it's him. He is that good. You put him on any team in the league, and he's going to be just as difficult to guard. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where. He's an unorthodox superstar who's going to get his for the rest of his career. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning for Jalen Brunson. But if he ain't out there, the Knicks are the Knicks they were last year. The Knicks are the same Knicks they've been for the last 2-3 years without Jalen Brunson. He's the difference. So as far as I can tell, this team ain't that. They ain't about to be that just because they have a lot of size. However, they do have a lot of size, man. Do not try laying the ball up over Mitchell Robinson. I shouldn't have to tell nobody that. Mitchell Robinson is one of the best shot blockers in basketball. Rarely is he healthy. This is one of them rare occasions. He's healthy. He's out there. He's fully healthy. He's got 100%. He's looking great. He's been great, in terms of his conditioning for the last 3 weeks. He's in a good form for himself. So that means you expect a lot of rebounds, a lot of block shots, a lot of dunks. So, like I said, he's going to be a fail-safe for them. We don't want him going off for no more than 10 points at all. If he's having a 20-point night, and it's the same thing I said about Rudy Gobert 2 weeks ago. If he's having a 20-point night or some stupid stuff like that, you lost. Ain't no way you want to turn him into a scorer. Ain't no way you want him getting easy passes to dunks and getting him to the line and stuff like that. Absolutely not. Get that boy in foul trouble. He's a pogo stick. He has injury issues. Get him off the floor, and the night will be so much easier for us. Isaiah Hartenstein is a nice player. He's going to do a lot of things on the offensive side. But him stopping Anthony Davis from doing anything is not a realistic statement. He's not stopping Anthony Davis. So at this point in time, if they don't have Robinson on the floor, Anthony Davis should be able to go off for more than 30 points. More than 30 points. So that's what I expected. A big game from Anthony Davis. He should be, frustrated at the fact that he wasn't able to have some freedom to move around in the last game. He attempted only 7 shots. And I think he wants to see the ball fall. This is somebody who's used to scoring a lot. We had been putting up 35 and 14, 5 blocks, all kinds of weird numbers, and it's only going to get higher. We know that the elevator goes higher than 30 and 35. He can go up to 50 and 60 and maybe even 70 points. So at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the type of game we're seeing tonight, especially without Braun on the floor, obviously. He got D'Lo back, so that's more passes coming his way, more easy buckets in theory from the assist that D'Lo gets him. On top of the fact that Austin is down there and Dennis Schroeder giving him the same production that we had before D'Lo came there with the assist coming his way. He's also, and this is something that's important, turning into a passer for the Los Angeles Lakers, which I've been very pleased with. Him trying to get his assist numbers up since Bron has sat down, since we had D'Lo out. He was really intent on making plays for others, and I thought that carried over into Toronto as well. I look to see him continue to try to make plays for people every game and just ultimately get better at that as his career progresses with our team, because I don't think he's had a triple-double in his career. If he has, it's only been one. I want to see him get to a place where he's getting his assist numbers up with so many weapons around him to pass to. So that's what I want to see us get better at, him passing the rock. So that's really where I'm at, man. The New York Knicks don't scare me at all. It could be a trap game because of it. But, RJ Barrett's a little inconsistent. They're on a road trip where they're playing poorly. They lost their last game at home. They just ain't playing well right now. We ran into the Knicks at the right time. And with Jalen Brunson out, it's going to be hard for them to wake up and match our intensity, given the fact that we're such a good team right now. Shooting the ball is important. We shot extremely well against the Toronto Raptors. From behind the arc, a lot of that had to do with D'Lo just busting it up. Like I said, in the fourth quarter, hitting like 4 threes. But as a team, we're shooting well. You remove Malik Beasley, our best shooter, from the equation when he overshoots and bricks everything. And we had a fantastic three-point shooting team. And that should tell you how talented we are shooting the ball, because he's our best three-point shooter, and he could not score the ball and hasn't been able to lately. So hopefully we can get him going and kind of see the ball fall at the shooting guard position tonight. So that's really what it is, man. I'm super excited about the New York Knicks-Laker matchup tonight because I think we can win it. We are going to be tied with the seventh seed tonight if we were able to win this game, since the Timberwolves lost their last game. Blazers, I think, lost their last game. Some other people, too. Utah won theirs. But, we're in the mix, man. We're in the mix. Dallas has been losing, all kinds of stuff like that. So, actually, I think did they beat Memphis last night? I don't remember. Whatever the case may be, we're in a position to be 7th if we win this particular game. And like I said, we have to keep fighting. It doesn't matter. But it's symbolic at this point because we're trying to turn our season around. And we feel we have a good enough team to beat everybody at this point. And we just got to get healthy. So let's do that. Let's stay healthy tonight. Let's run good rotations. Let's get the same type of production we've been getting out of everybody. Let's be ready for the rim protection that the Knicks provide. Let's be ready for Emmanuel Quickley's big play ability. And let's expect Julius Randle not to shoot 5 for 24. Okay? Julius Randle's more than capable of going for 30 and 15 as well. So let's expect him to play well, just to be on the safe side. He was terrible against the Clippers, but he never played for the Clippers. He played for the Lakers. And you know who else played for the Lakers? Josh Hart. Yeah, they acquired him halfway through the season. Don't forget Josh Hart is on this team. He's a big player. He's going to do good things on both sides of the floor, and his 3 balls been falling. So we got to be ready for Josh Hart to muck things up and make life difficult for us with Jalen Brunson out. He's going to be a factor. And if he has a big game, which is possible, as we know, then he could be the difference between the Knicks having a competitive game and not. So treat him like a real player. He ain't Jalen Brunson, but don't expect that he can't have a career high tonight. He's playing against his old team, and we know how players do when that happens. So that's what I got to say, man. It's a Laker reunion tonight. Welcome home, Juju. Welcome home, Josh Hart. We appreciate all our old guys, man, especially when they played multiple years here, especially when they were drafted here. That's our kids. We got a lot of love for them. But tonight, it ain't no love. It's the Lakers, and we are here to win. You know what I mean? It ain't deeper than that. I don't care who the other team is. It could be New York. It could be Portland. It could be Brooklyn. It don't care. It's Utah, whoever you are. If you're coming in here, the motive is for us to be the victor. And it ain't personal. You know what I mean? We just have to win. We have to beat everybody. And so that's what it is, man. I'm very, very poised for the Lakers to have a very good game tonight against a team that I just flat out think we're better than, even though their record tells us otherwise. We've made trades. And because we made those trades, we're one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest team in all of basketball. So that's what I expect to see us come out here and display that on our home court, coming off high momentum and coming off several wins, man. This is the time. This is the time. I think we only have like 15 games left, something like that. this is the stretch that I think is a little soft in the schedule. And so if we can get a couple of these games here, home game, knock it out, make sure that this New York team, who's prone to losing, goes home a loser as usual, send Spike Lee home, with his hand rested on his shoulder. I thought it was very funny seeing him sitting next to Balmer while Balmer was going crazy reacting to a play, and him giving us the polar opposite energy next to Balmer. I thought that was a classic thing to see. But all in all, the stars are going to be out. And know this, the Knicks bring their fans with them. New York is very well represented in this state. We know that. The Knicks are going to be in the house making things loud for themselves. But at the end of the day, the way we've been playing, the way our crowd showed out against the Raptors, I think it was as loud as it's been in 15 or 20 years in that building. So as far as I can tell, we got a new attitude about purple and gold. We think we can win the whole championship if we can just get in this playoff mix. We're in it if we don't drop games like this one. We'll be there. And that's what it's about, man. Nobody wants to face us. It is what it is. So go Lakers. I kind of like the Knicks. Everybody who follows me knows I kind of have a little bit of love for the Knicks from afar, but not too much. My allegiance doesn't waver in any way. I just don't hate the Knicks. Found myself rooting for them when I was a little kid here and there in certain matchups, particularly against the Miami Heat. But all in all, this ain't that. This ain't that. We got to beat them just like we got to beat everybody else. And so that's what it is. No orange and blue skies today. None of that. This is purple and gold business. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.